Welcome back to Henry's Garage. In this episode we are starting on taking the gearbox assembly out of the Stag. We've done most of the easy stuff for it, where we got to a point where I need to get the exhaust off and it's just stuck. I can't get it to budge. So some thoughts about that, and once that's done, it is actually should be a case of disconnecting the prop shaft from the overdrive, removing the bolts at the front, bar housing to engine, and lowering it out. So in this part we're trying to get everything else, hopefully, and if anyone can give me thoughts on how I get that exhaust off without ruining it, because I don't want to have to buy a new exhaust system, that'd be great. Like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy, and enjoy the episode. JFDI. That's where I've got to. I can't think of anything else now. I am still waiting on this pipe replacement. But if that's what's causing all of the issues, well, I'll be surprised. So I want to turn the car around because it'll be easier to work on if I have it the other way around, because I can get it up without having to back it out of the garage and back in all the time. So I'm going to bleed it so that I can move it a bit, because that seems to work short term. I'm going to clear out the other side of the garage. I'm going to take it out, back it back in, lift up the front, and take out the gearbox. Here's the thing. I've just bled it again, and there was air in the system. So it's getting in somewhere, and I just can't work out where. So what I might do, to be honest, what I'm going to do, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave it overnight with some paper under it, so I can see if there's anything dripping out just from sitting, and that might give me a hint. I'm going to wait for the new pipe to turn up. Maybe the threads have gone or something, I don't know, but somehow maybe that old pipe is leaking, and we're going to put that in. Now, I'm not saying that the bearing doesn't need changing, because I think everyone knows it does, but what I am saying is I don't want to do it yet. So I'm going to look for another excuse not to. I feel like I'm destined not to drive this car this summer. I was checking on where the connection pipe was for master to clutch save, to slave on the clutch. Realised I hadn't pressed the actual order button to pay for it. I just set it all up. So I had been expecting today. I pressed to buy it today, and the delivery time's gone from 2 days to 2 weeks. So I'm not going to be doing it for a while. So I'm going to check underneath now and see if there's any leaks there. I'm then going to bleed again and see if there's any air, and then I'm going to turn it around so that I can actually take the gearbox out. Well, there was no oil under the car, and so I turned it around easily enough. Maybe I should just keep it to 5-minute drives and bleed it after every drive this summer. Maybe that's the solution. So the first step is to raise the car and disconnect the battery. Now apparently the higher the car is off the ground, the easier it is to get underneath according to the instructions. So I thought that was quite useful. Now, this won't open the whole way because that's too long. Won't open the whole way because of the roof, garage roof, door. So I need to find something just to hold it up whilst I take the battery off. Right, so we've loosened off and disconnecting. I haven't loosened that side yet. So that's the battery off. And the next step is to undo the gearbox drain plug. Okay, whilst that drains, this is what came out. This is magnetic, so you can see all the little bits of metal that have stuck to that. The oil itself doesn't look all that bad. Actually, I don't know what goes in, so I don't know what colour it is going in. But it smells a bit, but in terms of how it looks, I've got a little drop here on the floor next to me. I'll show you. So you can see the colour of the oil that's come out, which, you know, it's still oil coming, it's not gone black. So anyway, the next step is to drain the cooling system and disconnect the top hose from the radiator and disconnect both hoses from the heater. So I need to put my temporary bonnet stayed in the way again. So this is the top hose. Okay, now we're gonna drain. Ah. Ow. Oh, sugar. Well, that went everywhere. And I'm pretty soaked as well. So I'm just going to dry this up. I'll put the pipe back. I'm going to dry it up and probably change shirt, and then I'll be back. So here's what came out in terms of colour. I lost a lot of it. It all looks pretty good to me. So now it says to disconnect from the heater unit, and I just don't understand why I would do that. So I'm not going to, and I just need to remember that when I get to it, if it suddenly is catching on something. The next step is to remove the gear lever knob. Now the Stag has overdrive, so you have to take this off first and disconnect the wires, which are going to be truly easy to do. There we go. Now then, how are those in there? Are they just pushed in? Right, so as I'm facing it, brown on the right, blue on the left. Probably doesn't make any difference, but it might. There we go. Maybe brown on the right, blue on the left. Okay, and then I need to I hate these things. Okay, so the Stag is like other, you know, MG, British Leyland cars of the time. With its overdrive, you have to hold on to this and loosen that up, which is just done with a couple of screwdrivers. So I'm going to do that off screen because I just can't get a camera in position to do it. And there it is, all off in its glory. So this just unscrewed a bit. You then use a screwdriver into the notches, into these notches here, to twist it the other way and get it off. So that's off. Right, so we next want to get the console tray out. So that's just a small screwdriver in here, and it should pop up. And then behind that we have 2 screws, which again, I can't hold the camera and unscrew at the same time, so we're going to take those out. And with those out, and this now comes out, I've got to be careful about the wiring behind it. I don't want to do any damage back there, so I'm just going to again switch you off and take that out manually. And there it is off. It goes then that way. So let's see what the next step is. Okay, next to come out is these 4 screws, and then we lift out this rubber gaiter. And we might have to work out how to do it. We might have to pull the wire out or something to enable that to happen. This wire here, because I can't see otherwise how it comes through. I suspect the gaiter was meant to go over it in the first place or something. Right, rather than pull the wire out from here, I'm going to disconnect it down here. That should allow me to get these off. Then I'll reconnect them. There we go, that was easy. So I've only temporarily put those back in, but they're there so that they're ready. It says, withdraw the overdrive switch lead if fitted through the gear lever. Well, I'm not doing that. I've only just read that. Right, position the gear lever in neutral and remove the bolt at the rear of the gear lever cover. So this is the bolt I need to take out. Here, and unless I'm actually removing the gear lever, which I might be, I haven't read ahead, if that's coming out then I can leave these wires connected, but if it's going down then I can't, because clearly those wires need to go somewhere. So I might have to disconnect them here again. I'd rather not take it out of here because I can see that being very difficult to get back in. So we'll get this off. Again, it'll have to be off camera, and then look at what's next. So with that out, the nut out there, we depress and turn this to remove that. Right, I think we're getting to the trickier bits now. Withdraw the gear lever, taking care not to lose the plunger and spring located in the striker end of the gear lever. Well, that seems to be everything coming out. So I'm just going to lie this down. I'm just going to find something so I can lie this down safely. Loosen the 5 bell housing to engine bolts accessible from the engine compartment. Okay. I think it's an interesting definition of accessible. And I'm trying to work out which the 5 are still. But I think the reason for removing the heater hoses is to give access to them. So let's try popping off the distributor and seeing what it looks like. Okay, we're going to remove the heater hoses. I've decided to just go back a few steps to check I'm okay, and I'm looking at this plunger and spring, and so this bit, which I'm meant to be careful not to lose, clearly goes in there, and you can see. Let's see if I can set this up better. This is my third attempt at recording this. So I went back to look at the plunger and spring, and I realised that it's meant to go in here. Alright, there very obviously isn't anything in there, and I've been hunting around for it, so I've been seeing if I could find it in there, you know, if it's popped out somewhere somehow, or if it's fallen onto the ground somewhere. And I've been under the car looking for it, and I can't find it under the car, and I can't see any sight of it here. So I don't know if it's not had a plunger and spring in there for a while. I don't know if that's even possible, or, well, I just don't know. So I'm going to have another hunt for it, but I'm going to stop for now whilst I look into this. It says there were 5 bolts to loosen within the engine bay, and I can't work out which 5 those are, so I've loosened more than that. So these are meant to be from engine to bell housing. Okay, so there's one here you can see. There's one up behind the transfer housing which you can't see. How you tighten these up again, I don't know, but alright. Then there is one in there which hopefully you can just about see. One further over, and then there are 2 or 3 down the other side. So I've loosened those. I haven't taken any of them off. I've loosened them all. And we'll go from there. And I've just noticed, and I don't know if I've done this just now or if it was broken before, but I've noticed, well, this here, which I suspect goes in there. Yeah, almost certainly goes into the brakes. Especially given the way it is sticking there. I don't know. Anyway, I just noticed that wire. Where's it from? Hanging loose. And so if anyone does know where that goes, I should appreciate it, because I just stuck it in there for now. Anyway, so I've loosened them off. Next step. So next step is working under the car, disconnect the wiring to the reverse light switch and overdrive, if fitted, at the block connector on the left hand side near the starter motor. Okay, well, we have the starter motor here, and I cannot see any connector around here underneath the car for anything. So what I do see, I guess, is, where's it gone? Here, this wire here. Can I get that into view? So we've got this wire coming from the back, which I think probably goes to the overdrive, but that's going straight up. So I wonder if the connector here has been moved up there. So here we are above the car, yeah, and I think that's most likely. It looks to me like this is probably what they're talking about, and it's been moved up top here on this and connected off there. So if I break that and unclip here, I think that's probably good. So that's what I'll do. And there we have those bits unclipped, so that can go down out of the way. Okay, I'm underneath the car, and this is the speedo unit cable, which I need to disconnect next, and I think that's just this bolt back here. But, I can barely get under to do this, so I certainly won't be filming it. I'll just try to take that out. Right, getting that out was not easy, but there's the cable, and this is what holds it in place. And the problem is my 7/16 is just a bit too long to go in comfortably, and so I couldn't move it. I couldn't get my hands in there. Ratchet sockets wouldn't fit. I mean, there's just no room at all. I think, to be honest, the hanger needs removing in order to be able to do that. So I think maybe when putting it back in, I need to support it on a stand, on a axle, and then put it in, and then put in the transmission supporting bracket. But there we are. Right, the next step is to remove this middle section of exhaust. That means I have to undo these 3 bolts for this pipe. There are 3 bolts in there that I need to get at. One is totally inaccessible behind all of this stuff, and then behind the silencers I need to remove that as well, and then lower it all out from the middle back there. So again, I don't think I'm going to film it. I'm just going to work on it and come back. Right, at the front I've taken out 4 nuts and 1 bolt, and that bolt looks like, I mean, I don't know if I can feel any thread there, so I think I might have to be buying a new one of those. But there's one in here which I just don't see how I'm going to get at right here without taking out the oil filter, so I'm going to take that out even though it's not on the instructions. Drain a bit of oil there and then have another go at it. Okay, so with the oil filter off, we've got all of the nuts and bolts off from the front of the exhaust. So let's go look at the back now. So this is the rear of the car, and we need to slacken off the bolt there and on the other side so that we can withdraw the pipe. Right, to loosen them off at the back, and the last bit is to take this bolt out, and then in theory you just slide it out. I'm sure it'll be that easy. Right, well, the bolts are released everywhere, but this won't budge at all. That's with me, I mean, that's just my weight, but it's not coming at all. I've tried, I can get a screwdriver onto the edge here, and then I've tried with my mallet from above to try to tap it loose. Nothing. So I'm just thinking, because I don't want to, I mean, I've got a good exhaust system here and I certainly don't want to have to replace that. So I'm trying to work out how to do this without damaging it. This is the pick, and this is the crowbar, which I've been using to try to get out the exhaust. I'll show you what I've been trying to do. Okay, so I can't get these exhausts to move at all, so with the pick I've been trying to get into the gap here and just scrape bits out to clear it off, and then I've been using the crowbar here to try to get some force onto it to pull it down. It's not working. The progress, I mean, this one looks like it's beginning to move a bit. You can see a bit of a gap here. This one, where's the light gone? This one, not so much. So if I use crowbar here, it just makes the back move. So back there, it just makes that lot move, as opposed to up front. Now, when I'm looking at these bolts that are in here, see, so that looks to me like this one needs to come forward to come out. This one here, it needs to move backwards to come out. Alright, back there, you're upside down now, but back there, you know, there, I'll go down and show you. Back there is now back here, and you can see that these actually need to squeeze together to come out. You know, and forward, okay? And they can't squeeze together particularly, apart from just that little bit, because in the middle here, if we can get it in the middle here, just before the silencers, the mufflers, we have a connector. And so I can't work out how to get it out. I mean, nothing seems to want to move at all. And I don't know how to do it. So I did try a little bit of heat, but not much, because I get very nervous with heat anywhere, you know, up front near the engine, or anywhere near a petrol line. And, you know, these things are, so I don't know what to do. I've just been lying here on my back trying to work out how to get this exhaust out, and I cannot work it out. So if anyone can give me some thoughts about what to do, I'm going to stop this video here and call this part 1 of removing the gearbox assembly. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell me how to get this thing off. Thanks. Bye.